Hello everybody! If you want to connect to a DGX Spark in a headless way, somehow you need to enable remote connectivity. This is Stef from Samayas and welcome to my channel. In my previous video about how you can connect to DGX Spark, I looked at it from a Windows and a graphical point of view. And there I took full control to the remote GUI. This time, I'll look at it the way that NVIDIA designed its tools, through syncing and SSH. As always, there isn't a good way, but it depends on what you need, want, and what you prefer. If you only need a terminal prompt to execute things, the NVIDIA Sync is fine. If you want to run an LM Studio remote, then an MSTSC connection is the preferred way. Let's dig in. When you first set up or start your NVIDIA DGX Spark, well, at the end, the default page that is opened is build.nvidia.com/sparks. And here you have a number of helper guides. Today, I'm going to look into how to set up local networking access and everything that is related to that. Now, if you click through here, we have a number of things to discover. First, there's the NVIDIA Sync. Next, we have SSH. Afterwards, we have the SSH Tunnel. And finally, we have the mDNS. Now, for the people who know how Ubuntu works, in general, the moment you open up a terminal, first you see the username and then you see the system name. If, however, for whatever reason, you still want to extract that for your system or that default has been changed to something else, you can simply type hostname. And again, hostname will simply give you the full hostname of your system. Next to the hostname command, there's also the hostname control command, which returns more extensive details. And here, next to the name, we also have a computer type, machine ID, boot ID, on which Ubuntu version you're running, and a kernel version, which architecture, and some firmware information, which in some scenarios can be quite handy. And then further, and if you go back to the default page, as it states, mDNS or multicast DNS is configured on all DGX systems. Now, of course, this is a Ubuntu service, which probably is also enabled by default on each Ubuntu. However, it is the configuration that determines the name. And as it states here, at least for the NVIDIA versions, the name is Spark-ABCD. However, my ASUS DGX Spark is an ASUS version and its type is GX10. And so, my mDNS will not respond to Spark-3C2C, but rather to GX10-3C2C. If we have a little look at the mDNS service, we simply call system control status avahi daemon, and here we can see that our mDNS is enabled and what it did. And so currently it registered a service name GX10-myID. So if I now switch back to command prompt on my Windows machine and I simply ping GX10-3C2C.local, I get an IP address back. And for those who are paying attention, it is not an IPv4 address, it is not a normal IPv6 address, but it is an IPv6 linked local address. That is a local range that is established locally on your network and is an IP address which is not reachable outside of your network. Now currently, I also have a DHCP server and my DGX also receives an IP address and I even registered its name. And so if I ping its normal name, well, DGX1 receives a local IP address in IPv4. But even my local IPv4 IP address, of course, is not reachable, because in general, IPv4 is NATed. But if your Windows system is configured with mDNS, and by default it is, and probably only Enterprise Windows version will have disabled it, but if it's enabled, it's a very easy way to find your DGX on your local network. So now, if I want to set up NVIDIA Sync, well, depending on the OS, I'm running on Windows, but you also have a Mac version. You need to download and install an executable. So I need to switch from my DGX to my Windows machine. And so I typed over the URL build.nvidia.com/sparks/connect-to-your-spark/sync. And now I'm simply going to click on the Windows and download the 86 version. And this is a relatively small file, only 170 megabytes. So now I'll open up and execute a setup, and I simply need to click on it. And of course, as always, I need to agree. And the first thing that happened is it detected I am running on my. And so what is installed currently on my machine is VS Code. However, I do not have cursor, and so it has not been detected. I do not have the normal version of VS Code, and I do not have AI Workbench. So I'll simply continue with VS Code Insiders. And now it asks for a name to connect to my DGX Spark. And so I'll give it a simple name, DGX1, and then here either you give it an IPv4 address if you know it, or you can simply give it the mDNS name. And so in order to connect it, it asks for a host name or IP address. We can use the IP address, the IPv4, which I've known and hard-coded. I could use my full public domain name, or I could still use my mDNS domain name. I prefer to use my internal names rather than mDNS, but if you don't have that, your mDNS is perfectly fine. And then it asks me for my username and password. I simply need to choose Add. My device is successfully added. And now that my NVIDIA Sync is installed, I simply need to click on the arrow for all the icons, and here I have NVIDIA Sync. A nice little window. In the bottom, it currently selected my DGX1, and since I only have one DGX1, I cannot do anything more. I have a connect and a disconnect. If I disconnect, it is gone. And afterwards, I can simply re-establish a connection. I have my root folder in which it needs to start, and that can be changed to any other directory. And here I have my dashboard, my terminal, and my VS Insiders. If I open up my terminal, automatically it opens up a terminal window. The moment I do ls, I can do whatever I want or need in it. And so now, if I click on VS Code Insiders, it opens up my VS Code. It asks me to install Remote SSH. Now I have an SSH connection to my DGX1, and if I open it up here, I can see all my files, and I can start editing directly on my DGX1. And so in the extensions, it installed Remote SSH editing configuration, and I also have a pack for remote development, and I can even install a remote tunnel. And now, if I simply go to the terminal, I'm immediately connected to my DGX1. And here again, I can simply do an ls and connect and do whatever I need. Or I can simply close the connection if I don't need it anymore. And then finally, I have my DGX dashboard. I'm connecting here to localhost 11,000, but it is asking credentials for my DGX1. And that is kind of tricky at first. So I'll simply enter the username and password for my DGX and not from my local Windows machine. And now I connect, and I seem to be connected directly to my DGX Spark with a nice little dashboard. And if I really want to tweak things around, I have one final option. If I'm not happy with which I've done previously, there is still a custom add new, and then here I can give it a name, I can give it a port, URL path, and I can add something more in case it is necessary. And here the last feature is the options. And here the settings are quite extensive. I can configure each of the buttons I want to see or not. If I don't want to see the DGX dashboard, I simply disable it. My AI Workbench is not installed, and so I cannot flag it. It's simply unavailable. I can disable terminal. Same thing for cursor and VS Code, which I was previously looking for. And my VS Code Insiders, of course, is enabled. The previous custom here is exactly the same thing. And finally, I currently only have one DGX1. And so this is what it lists, and it shows the status, which is connected. We have a possibility to disconnect, to delete, or even to set up a tailscale tunnel. And here, if you want to enable tailscale, we could set it up, meaning that from your local workstation, you connect to your DGX somewhere on the other side of the world. So now, let's connect to my DGX Spark. And now I can simply do SSH dgx1.samayas.eu, which is a DNS name which I registered locally for the IP address of my DGX Spark. Depending on your scenario, you might exactly do the same thing, or you might simply use your mDNS record to connect to it. And in this scenario, an mDNS record would be gx10-3c2c.local. And so, the moment I press enter, it automatically connects to my DGX Spark. No username, no password. If I now do an ls, Well, I have full access remotely, which is kinda handy if the only thing we need to do is to launch terminal commands on my DGX. Before, I did another video where I showed how you could connect remotely to MSTSC and then open up a terminal and do whatever you wanted. Now, as always, if you only need to execute commands on your DGX, this of course is a faster way. Now, you might say this is not very secure. And on one side, you're right, because the moment a user has access to your local Windows machine and your local user, well, it automatically has access to your DGX. Now, of course, the supposition is that your local Windows user, of course, is restricted to username and password, and not everybody can connect. And then there again, there's no problem. Now, how is that possible? Well, the moment we set up NVIDIA Sync, the first thing we had to do, we had to provide the DGX IP address or DNS name and a username and password. And what happened under the hood, with that username and password, NVIDIA Sync made a connection to the DGX Spark, and there it generated an SSH key. The private key is locally on my Windows machine, and the public key is registered on the DGX Spark. And if now I cd into my .ssh and I do an ls, I have authorized keys. And if I simply do a cat of my authorized keys, well, I have a public key for the user of my machine name, which is an NVIDIA Sync. And the moment either this key stays in authorized keys or the private key keeps existing on my local machine, I can simply SSH into that machine. Now, when doing a quick search on my local machine, I have a multitude of ssh.exe installed locally. Depending on your system, potentially SSH might not necessarily be present. And then finally, if we look into known hosts under the SSH folder, we have two private keys. It created an SSH-RSA key and it created an SSH ED25519 key. Now personally, I use Putty a lot to connect to SSH or sometimes to a serial port. However, if I simply type DGX1 and I open it up, unfortunately, it still prompts me for username and password, and it did not take into consideration the previously created key, and that is kind of a bummer. And why is that? Well, SSH is using your .ssh directory configuration, while Putty is completely using its own system. And so, when you first created NVIDIA Sync, it created or modified the config file, and that config file is a redirect to AppData local NVIDIA Corporation Sync config SSH config to make things more complicated, of course. And then in that config, we have again an SSH config, and that SSH config has more details: the hostname, the username, port, and the NVSync private key. And this is the private key. And so, in order to fix that, we need to start PuttyGen, which is another tool next to Putty. We need to go to the load button, then we need to go to the AppData local NVIDIA Corp sync configuration. In the bottom, we need to select all files, and here we need to select the NVSync key. And that, if everything's successful, successfully imports the foreign key. And so now I need to save the private key, and he asks me if I want to save it without passphrase protection. And then next, I need to save it to a location where afterwards I can retrieve it. I give the name DGX1 and I press save, and now my key is saved. And then when I open up again Putty, I specify my hostname. Then I go to connection data. Here I specify the username to be used. Then I go to SSH auth credentials. I browse and I take my PPK file which I've created. When I now click on open, automatically I'm also logged in. So even with Putty, it is possible. And so I simply need to create a new session, and on the session I call it DGX1 and I save, and I'm done. And if I now simply reopen my Putty, I have my DGX1, I do load, I do open, and automatically I'm connected. Now, on every DGX Spark, out of the box, there's a DGX dashboard which is installed on localhost 11,000. If I try on its public IP address, that isn't even working. So technically, it is only accessible through localhost and on the machine itself. And on one side, that might be security. On the other side, that's kind of a bummer. However, if I now simply run on my Windows machine which has NVIDIA Sync installed, and I do localhost 11,000, I have exactly the same dashboard. And how is that done? Well, thanks to SSH tunneling. Now, the port 11,000 is quite nice if you only have one DGX. If you have 2, 3 or 4 and you add them all to NVIDIA Sync, the second DGX will be on port 11,001, the third will be on port 11,002, etc. And so, what happens under the hood is at the moment you start up NVIDIA Sync, it's established an SSH tunnel with this command line. And of course, the username and password credentials have already been configured when you set up NVIDIA Sync, and pure technically, in the settings of NVIDIA Sync, you can disable the DGX dashboard, and so that DGX dashboard will not show up anymore in your little icon. However, this one is always enabled. And so, I've now simply killed my NVIDIA Sync and it's not running anymore. And if I now open up my VS Code, here in the bottom, open a remote window, I can choose Connect to Host. I can simply connect to my DGX1. It opens up a new session. And again, I have my connection to my DGX1. I go to Files, I choose to open folder, and I still have access to the entirety of my system. And the same thing, if I simply open up a command prompt and I type ssh dgx1.samayas.eu, well, again, I'm connected. So whether or not you really need NVIDIA Sync is up to you. As always, all roads lead to Rome, right? At least in the past, in Europe they did. Now, do you need NVIDIA Sync? Absolutely not. It's basically rewrapping an SSH connection manager in a fancy user interface. For the Linux gurus, it's absolutely overkill. However, for a Windows user that wants to harness GPU power and isn't a Ubuntu expert, this is a very nice tool to facilitate connectivity. If you guys enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell sign. Or leave a comment down below.